But okay, I'm ready, guys. I have my tea. Life with Becca. Got my tea. It's hot though. So not only is it tea time, it's also lunchtime. So, ladies, get your tea and get your lunch. I'm eating leftovers, Carrabba's. So y'all, I haven't ate breakfast. I haven't done anything. I haven't taken care of myself today. Oh, I brushed my hair for y'all. Not for me. I did it for y'all. I changed my shirt too. So. Yeah. I love steak and I love Carrabba's. And my husband was so sweet and he took me out because I reached 1K. And then I kind of wanted to show you guys. Right here I have a brown paper baggie. My husband's so sweet. So we all carry credit cards, debit cards. We don't really carry cash. So my husband was so sweet last night. He had went out to the gas station or whatever to get something. And he came back, he's like, baby, I've been holding these $11 for you. You know, you reach 1K. So I got you $11. Hold on. I'll show you. Wait, maybe I should. Let's rewind. I'll show y'all. So he got me $11 worth of scratch-offs. So towards the end, I got my little dime here. So towards the end, I'll do that and see if I was lucky or not. So let's talk about breastfeeding, y'all. I'm laughing because my head. So I'm Dominican. And in my head, I'm laughing because my dad was talking to me the other day and he was talking, he mentioned my YouTube and he's like, oh, tú estás enseñando qué gorda que tú estás in YouTube. Basically, he's showing how, he said I'm being a fat ass on YouTube. I'm showing the whole world the fat ass I became. That's okay. So let's talk now that I just pigged out on camera. Let's do some nail glam. So I had talked about color streets and I'm just gonna keep mentioning them because my nails look good. Alright, so let's get into this topic. I decided that I wanted to talk about breastfeeding because I am going to be uploading a video, one that I can actually edit about this matter. And it's because on my social media, like on Instagram mostly, in my stories I had posted like my supply of breast milk. And I've had a few moms like reach out to me or just say to me like, oh man, I wish I had that much milk, or I wish I had that supply. And y'all, that did not happen overnight. Like, I struggled breastfeeding since day one. Like, breastfeeding was not um was not easy from day one. And so when moms reach out to me, because I don't post my supply of milk on social media to gloat. Sometimes I just share, and I do different things. It's almost, yeah, I don't know. First of all, I have like a process when it comes to my oversupply of breast milk. So what I do is, any milk that at the end of the day, and sometimes it's 2 days later, I try to make sure I freeze any oversupply of breast milk before 4 days. So on a good day, I might, at the end of the day, I might be able to freeze that milk, or I'll wait 2-3 days later and I'll freeze my oversupply of milk, the milk that she didn't drink. And then it goes in my freezer, and then I let it collect, and then I have to transfer it to my deep freezer. So I procrastinate in doing that process because it's time consuming. To me, it's overwhelming. So it's like, I'll have all this milk from October, and then before you know it, November is here, and I'm looking at my freezer and it's stuffed with breast milk, and now I have to figure out like how to, now I have to like move it to the deep freezer. And it's just like annoying process. Like, I don't know, it just aggravates me when I have to deal with my breast milk, the oversupply. It just annoys me because it's like too much work. To be honest, it's just too much work. So, this is what I really want to share though. My supply did not happen overnight. Actually, I remember when I first started breastfeeding, that was my question. When was the river of milk going to flow? Like, no one could answer that question for me. I was on Google, I joined a couple of Facebook groups of moms, and that was my number one question, and so many other moms. When is my milk going to come in? And everyone told me, like, I guess after 12 weeks, most moms are regulated, meaning when you become regulated, your body kind of knows, like, okay, Becca, you produce 30 ounces of milk, that's what you're going to be producing. So it's like your body already naturally, after 12 weeks, it kind of knows, like, this is how much milk I need to make for the baby. So that means for the first 12 weeks, when you start breastfeeding, you need to do everything in your power to increase your supply. And it is a supply and demand. Now, what I feel like nobody talks about is pumping. And let me explain this. Why I feel like pumping is important. Even if you're not going to be a pumping mom, I think in the first 12 weeks, all moms who are breastfeeding should pump. And the reason why I say that is like, the reason why I say that is because it takes time for your body to make milk. And if your baby is not latching on correctly, if your baby isn't, drinking enough milk, your body's thinking, okay, I don't need to make this milk. And so no one in the hospital talks about that. Like, they just say, okay, here's the baby and try to latch, And so when I had my daughter, I thought breastfeeding was just gonna be natural. I did not have any concerns about breastfeeding. And then bam, we get to the hospital. I didn't get my golden hour with her because I had a cesarean. And then once I was in the recovery room, they tried to, help me latch. I didn't know I had to learn. That's another thing. I didn't know I have to learn how to latch, or, it was a learning curve between me and my daughter. It's to learn how to latch. And then 2, they say babies don't eat. So when she was in the hospital, she didn't really eat that much. So, And then I had her during COVID, so everything was pretty much locked down. Nurses weren't really coming in the room, so they were like, oh, she pooping, she peeing. Well, she didn't really poop that much. She's doing this many diapers. Okay, are you ready to go home? It was more like I'm rushed out of the hospital. So it was like, the lactation specialist came twice. So if y'all didn't know, y'all know now. You have to learn how to latch. You and your baby need to learn what position. Like, there's so many, the football position, the cradle position. There's so many positions that you need to figure out which one works. And all of us women are different. Meaning, what works for baby A will not probably work for baby B. We are all different. And so you kind of have to figure out which way is most comfortable between you and your baby to latch. And what else? So, latching, you have to learn. 2, breastfeeding is painful. And the reason why I say that is because engorgement. Your boobs is rock solid hard, hot, and it's full of milk. And your baby is not drinking it. So it's like, how do you relieve yourself? You know, no one talks about what to do when you have engorgement. So one thing that worked for me was hot water. You know, taking a hot shower helped me. Ice packs, hot or cold. What else helped me? I think that's it. Mainly, you know, ice packs. Ice packs was my friend. Oh, another thing they don't tell you too is you'll be leaking. You'll leak. Yo, there's some days that I wake up in the morning and I'm like a faucet. Drip, drip, drip. Especially now that my supply is in and I go like 10 hours. So the last time I pump at night is at 10 and I don't pump until 8 in the morning. And when I wake up, my back hurts because my breast is full of milk. So I'm in pain. So that's another thing. Even if your boobies don't hurt, your body hurts because you're carrying milk. So I wake up and my back be hurting. And sometimes if I don't get to that pump fast enough, I'm dripping. And I'm like, I be making my cup of coffee and sometimes I feel like doing that. It's just going all over the place. So, you know, we need to be open and honest about this topic. Like, breastfeeding is not roses and flowers and all this. It's painful. Like, I wish I could show you guys. I'm doing this live, so I can't like insert pictures, but I did not look like a happy mama breastfeeding. You see all these pictures. 9 out of 10, let me tell you this: when you see smiling moms with their babies being breastfed, you know, those little lovely images, 9 out of 10, those babies are like 4 months old. Because no one tells you that the first 3 months of breastfeeding is hell on earth. No one tells you that. Because you have to kind of configure the whole latching. Some babies, you know, don't have, some babies are lip tied, tongue tied, lip tie, all types of tie. So that prevents them from latching. So not only do you have to learn how to latch your baby onto your boobie, your baby might have a problem that won't let them latch. Then as a mom, you have anxiety because you know, the doctors basically harass you because your baby needs to be at a certain weight. So as a mom, you get anxiety or anxious because you don't know if you're feeding your baby enough breast milk. So when you go to the doctor's appointments, you're having like an anxiety attack because they're gonna either tell you, hey, your baby's losing weight too much, now you gotta introduce formula, or they're gonna be like, okay, your baby's okay. So thriving, I was trying to think of the word thriving. They tell you your baby's not thriving because they're not getting enough milk. Well, can someone help me? Like, how am I gonna feed this baby? And this is the crazy part. Y'all, I'm going on a whole tangent. about this subject. So, I'm going to give you statistics real quick. And I'm sorry if I'm all over the place with this topic, but just stay tuned, watch my whole video. It'll go in a circle and it'll make sense at the end. 85% of women leave the hospital agreeing, not that they agree, but they all, 85% of women leave the hospital, starting off with breastfeeding. They all say that they're gonna breastfeed, and then after a year, if you follow up with those moms, about 80 out of those 85% of women who said, yeah, I'm gonna continue on breastfeeding, only 35% of women are still breastfeeding. And so hospitals wants to increase more babies drinking breast milk, but they don't understand, like, how did women go from 85 down to 35 when it comes to breastfeeding? And I think one of the reasons is because pumping is not talked about. Pumping, self-expression is not talked about. In one of my research when I was looking into breastfeeding that I came across is learning how to hand express yourself. In today's society, we're so like, ew, I don't want to touch myself. Oh, like, it's seen like in today's society, it's almost like when it comes to our sexuality and that topic, it's like we can't touch ourselves. We can't, that's so taboo. But being a mom, you really need to know your body. You really need to know your breasts and experiment with them. Because, when you're pregnant, they say don't pump or don't, stimulate your breasts because you can go into early labor. But that's nonsense. Don't listen to them. When you are in your third trimester, about, I would say 37 weeks, start touching your boobs. Learn how to hand express. I did not touch my boobs. I used to joke around because they would be pokey, and I'd be like, oh, look, I got little squirters. But, I didn't touch my boobs, so I didn't know how to, like, really get to know my breast and know how to hand express myself. So when it came to my daughter being hungry and wanting to eat right now, but she wasn't latching, I could not hand express because I did not experiment with that beforehand. So one thing I feel that they need to educate moms, especially during pregnancy, is that towards the end of your third trimester, learn about your boobies, hand express, massage them. Because when you are engorged, the best way to relieve yourself is hand expression. And no one teaches us hand expression. That's another taboo topic about breastfeeding. We need to learn how to hand express our boobs so we know how to relieve ourselves. Because yes, you can pump all day long, but a pump is machine. It's not you doing it, so it doesn't help. I mean, it helps, but it's like your hand could be your best friend, and it could really help you in making you feel better. Yes.
I'm about to read and take a test. Scaredy squirrel.
Okay. I'm homeschooling guys too, so I would say that's one of the first things that people should talk about when it comes to breastfeeding is learning hand expressions, maybe doing it around 37 to 38 weeks pregnant is, getting to know your boobs, because for the first year of your baby's life, if you plan on breastfeeding, your boobs is going to be your best friend. And so you need to learn how to love them and learn how to take care of them, because breastfeeding comes with pain. It also comes with cracked nipples, thrusts, blisters. I've gotten cracked nipples, blisters about 2, maybe 3 times. And everybody's nipples different. That's another thing. Some people have flat nipples, inverted nipples. So that's why you need a nipple shield when you plan on breastfeeding. I would suggest packing, I'm going to steal this from you, Ashley. Ashley said something very smart. Ashley Couch. She talked about this topic on her channel too. She said pack you a nipple shield. Yes, pack you a nipple shield and pack you a breast pump. Those are 2 things that I did not pack in my hospital bag. And you know what? When my daughter was hungry and I was having a full panic at the hospital, I had to ask for a hand pump because I was like, she needs to eat now and she's hungry now and the milk is not coming out now. So those are 2 tips I would recommend to moms. If you plan on breastfeeding, start pumping right away because it takes time to build up your supply. And take a nipple shield because sometimes that can help with latching. Let's see. I talked about engorgement. I talked about thrush, cracked nipples, bleeding nipples. Oh, hold on. So if you have cracked nipples, invest in this. This helps heal cracked nipples and it's organic. So get you some nipple butter. If you're pregnant, just invest in these products now. It'll save you time and craziness because I didn't know about half of this product when I started my breastfeeding journey, and I was like Amazoning everything, like expedited shipping. So you need this. Now we talk about supply. When you first start breastfeeding, it takes a couple days for your milk to come in. And when your milk comes in, it's only maybe 1 ounce or 2 ounces at a time. You're not that, at least for me. For some moms, the river just keeps on going. They can pump 5 ounces in one setting and you're like, well, 5 ounces from one boob. So altogether, I've seen moms on YouTube, like, they got 2 big bottles and it's like 10 ounces from each boob. That's insane. That did not happen for me. When I first started pumping, I literally would get 1 ounce out of this boob and 1 ounce in this boob, 2 ounces. The first couple, month of me pumping, it's like you're pumping for 20 minutes just to get 2 ounces in total out of both boobs. It was sad. So to help with that problem of increasing your milk supply, start drinking tea. Best friend. Tea time. And if you're drinking this tea, it comes with little notes. Mine says the snuggle is real. No, girl, the struggle of breastfeeding is real. Also, clogged ducts. Y'all, nobody talks about clogged ducts. What is that? Clogged ducts? So not only do you gotta worry about how much milk you make, you gotta worry about your boobies getting clogged up. Yes, and some of those clogs are thick. Like, it looks like white mucus. It's nasty. Especially when you gotta pump it out, it's nasty. I swear by this. Anytime I feel a lump in my boobie, I take this. It's called sunflower lecithin. This helps thin out your milk, because what clogged ducts is fatty milk. It's fat, basically it's fat milk, or milk that's fat in your breast that it's too fat to come out. So this helps thin out the milk so, it could flow better. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And basically, if you have a clogged duct, you want to take one of these 3 to 4 times a day. When you don't have a clogged duct, I still recommend taking them at least once or twice a day. So I've been pumping for almost 7 months, and I've been taking these all the time. I'm not perfect at taking them anymore because, like I said, I'm 7 months into my pumping game, and so I'm a lot better when it comes to clogged ducts. But the first 3 months, you don't want clogged ducts, because you know what? Guess what happens when you get a clogged duct? They don't tell you about this too. Mastitis. Ooh, mastitis. You feel like, I want to say you feel like a crackhead. Yo, when I got mastitis, I thought I had COVID. My fever was high. I was cold. I mean, like, cold. I thought I was gonna die. So they don't tell you that in those pamphlets about mastitis. So you think you dying, and you could have mastitis. And mastitis comes from what? Clogged ducts. So you know what? Start taking this as soon as you leave the hospital. This will be your best friend. You don't have to worry about no clogged ducts. Then, these are supplements. These are supplements. So, fenugreek, a lot of women have adverse effects from this. It makes your armpits smell mapley. You be smelling like maple syrup for whatever reason. Also, it can make you gassy. So, and another thing too about this is some people, it hinders their milk supply. It doesn't increase it. For me, it worked, but for some women, it didn't. So, if you don't want gas, or you don't want to smell like maple syrup, look into this one. Legendary Milk is a good brand. I have a whole video on that. I'll probably insert that video in the description later on. And because Legendary, they don't put fenugreek, because that mama, she had an adverse effect to fenugreek, and it decreased her milk supply. So she invested in natural organic products that will help boost your milk supply but don't have the adverse effect. And this one I use because it helps with the gassiness. Like I said, in the first couple of months, my baby was always gassy, so this helped with that. So, let's see, what else? When should you start pumping? In my opinion, I know I kind of went in circles about the whole pumping thing. I think a lactation specialist needs to get on and need to talk about it. Yes, you want your baby to have feed naturally, but that doesn't work with every woman. So we need to normalize pumping, and I think pumping should be started in the beginning. Now, if you have a perfect latch with your baby, if your baby feeds to the breast, okay, you don't have to pump. I wouldn't recommend pumping then. If you have no issues with latching and no issues feeding naturally, then you don't have to pump. But if you're struggling, start pumping as soon as possible. How many times a day should you pump? Every 2 hours. Even if your baby's sleeping and they're not hungry, pump every 2 hours, because supply and demand. By you pumping every 2 hours, you will increase your milk supply. Eating habits. You need to eat, like I said in the beginning of the video, I had to eat lunch. I'm breastfeeding mom, so you have to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You need to eat a healthy diet. What you eat really comes out in your milk. So think about, just like when you were pregnant, you wanted to eat healthy, you wanted to nourish your baby. Same thing with breastfeeding. Also, sleep deprived. As a mom, you are going to be sleep deprived, and it's gonna be a struggle with pumping, or just nursing. Take sleep out the window. It's not gonna happen. So be prepared for that. Breastfeeding is a full-time job. It does not happen naturally. It has to be learned. It's painful. It's not roses and rainbows all the time. Sometimes you might have to supplement and be okay with that. When I got mastitis, my supply went ooh, boom, 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 boom. It was gone. I had to like, imagine, I got mastitis months in the second month of me breastfeeding. So it's like my supply went up. I was making 30 ounces a day, and then it went down to like 20 ounces a day. Do you know how hard that was to go back up? Like, I wanted to quit after I got mastitis. So, I kind of lost my train of thought. So, I really did lose my train of thought, but that's okay. Breastfeeding is beautiful, but it's also painful. And I think we should talk about that, and I think we should share the woes about breastfeeding and support each other. It's all different for us, but at the end of the day, oh, I know what I was talking about. I thought this is part when if I wasn't doing a live, I would edit this part out. Feed your baby. That's what I want to say. Don't worry about whether your baby is being formula fed or breastfed. Breast milk, formula milk, all milk is good as long as your baby is being fed. Because like I said, with my daughter, she did not want to latch and she was screaming. And so, yes, did it hurt me that I had to give her formula? Did I cry? Yes. Did I feel unworthy? Yes. Did I feel like an inadequate mother because I had to give my daughter formula? Yes, I did. Now, 7 months in, I don't care. Yeah, if I go out to a restaurant, if I go out to go grocery shopping, my daughter is going to get formula. In what? Because I don't got time to hear her screaming because she's hungry for me to warm up some breast milk. And when she was a baby, to me, when she was screaming like that, I thought she was in pain. So it was just easier for me to feed her formula than make myself feel better because I'm trying to give her breast milk. Don't beat yourself up. We do that as moms. We're so hard on ourselves. If your baby is happy, that's all that matters. A fed baby is a happy baby. So don't listen to Paulina in the corner because you didn't breastfeed your baby. Like, it's hard work. And like, I want to hug all the mamas out there because breastfeeding is hard work. So I'm going to end this here because I think I kind of went in a whole circle. But I hope what I share about breastfeeding, as this gets uploaded, if you have any questions about breastfeeding, if you have any concerns, you're struggling, listen, I struggled, especially the first 3 months. I think I borderline almost lost myself because I was trying to feed my daughter breast milk. And in reality, what's more important is, a healthy mama, a happy mama. And it's okay to struggle with breastfeeding. Don't think it's going to be roses and rainbows. It takes time to build your milk supply. So if you just had your baby and you feel like you're not making enough milk, don't worry. It'll get there, but it takes time. Like I said, it takes 12 weeks for your body to regulate, and it's more about supply and demand. You want to make more breast milk, then you're going to have to pump. And you're going to have to pump every 2 hours. Once you get enough supply, then you can decrease your pump. And another tidbit that I'll add before I close this out too, if you are going to invest in pumping, you should at least pump for 30 minutes every session. There's cluster pumping where you pump for like 20-30 minutes, and then you give yourself a 5-minute break, you pump for 10, 5-minute break, pump for 10. That can help increase your supply. Time, they say to pump, like in total in one day you should pump for 120 minutes. So divide that by how many sessions you think you need. I could do a whole topic on like pumping schedules and stuff like that. But don't beat yourself up. Just remember to love yourself. Breastfeeding isn't easy, but it's beautiful, because you get to feed your child, but also, it's okay to feed them formula too. I'm all for a fed baby. So I hope this video helps you ladies out. I hope I inspire some of you ladies. I'm not one to gloat. I just want to share that like my journey was very difficult in the beginning. So if you see me on social media and you're like, oh wow, she got a lot of milk, that took me a long time to get there. And now that I'm there, I'm ready to be done. So it's not an easy journey, but I want to hear your journey. So if you're watching my videos, if you're hopping on, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and tell me down below what was your experience with breastfeeding. Was it easy? Because there are some moms that they don't have any issues with breastfeeding, and then there's some moms that like me who struggled. So tell me your story down below in the comments, and thanks for staying tuned with me and listening to my rant about breastfeeding. Tea time. Ooh. All right, bye guys.